So this is my Austin 7. A couple of weeks ago I took it to a car rally in Ocean Grove in New Jersey and won second prize in its category, which was remarkable because I didn't even wash it before I went. But on the way back, you know, I blew a cylinder block core plug. So this video is about, can we change that without taking at least the front end off the engine. Here we are with the 1937 Austin 7. If you cast your eyes down to the front of that cylinder block, you'll see the problem lies with that front core plug that blew out the other day when I was coming back from the Brits on the Beach rally in Ocean Grove, New Jersey. That core plug blew right the hell out of there. I'll show you my proposed path to recovery. So conventional wisdom would have me use the standard core plug, which when I looked it up was 1 5/16". I sent off to the Austin 7 workshop in the UK to find these, but I also ordered some from an American supplier, part supplier. So I got half a dozen of them, a couple of bucks each. So that's the conventional wisdom, and you would take the whole front end of, actually you're supposed to take the whole engine out, but my dad said you could take the front end out, you know, where the dynamo and the distributor and the fan and everything is, so you can get to that and then knock it in. Me being a lazy ass, I might just knock that in with a punch and see if it would work. However, I did watch a couple of videos on how to fix these on the run in an emergency for Chevy short block V8s, right? And it's something like this. There's actually a couple of rubber ones. I'll show you the rubber ones first because it's a bit more obvious how those work. There's the rubber one, which is the right size, 1 5/16". So this is adjustable between, I think it tells me on, maybe it doesn't. I can't remember, but two sizes between 1 5/16", right? And when you compress it, you know that you screw the nut in here, it compresses the rubber and of course makes the rubber expand, right? So you can expand to 1 5/16". My problem is, of course, that won't fit in there. Oh, you can see this and I'm not in the way, but you see that won't fit in there, right? So that one's a no-go. However, this little skinny one does kind of fit in there, and if I take it apart, I'll do it on camera so you can see. If I take it apart, right, there's a couple of components to it. There's the inside there, it compresses down and squeezes out the brass part, right? If I put that bit in, I can kind of theoretically get that in there, right? So, if you can see that, just about fits in there. Drop that in there. But anyway, I'm going to try with a little bit of JB Weld, and then hopefully I can put all this back together again. Can you see that? Put it all back together again while it's actually in there, right? And then tighten down that nut, and when I tighten down that nut, it compresses and expands that out, right? That's the theory. So let's have a go and we'll see if that can work with the engine in place, right? And not having to dismantle it at all. That's my theory, and that's why I'm doing this video. So here we are the day after, and you can see that the JB Weld has kind of set around that core plug that I put in there, and I'm going to put the other half of it in and screw it up tight, and hopefully it distorts it so that it is, you know, jammed in tight like a conventional core plug, and that will be a fix without taking the engine, you know, apart. Here's the other pieces of that core plug, which I'll try and install now. I don't know how good a picture I'll be able to get of it, but I'll try. So here we are. I zoomed in really close to the thing. I don't know if you'll be able to make this out or not, but we'll try and install the other pieces of this now, right? I'll try and not get in your way. Inevitably my fingers are going to get in the way, you know. But let's see if we can do this. So as I said before, we put some JB Weld on that. Hopefully we can get that over there. it wasn't stable enough to just install the way it came. So we'll see if we can install it this way. Now that the JB weld is set up overnight. You can see that. I'm trying to do it so you can see it. Very awkward. Maybe I'll just zoom past this. I don't know if it's going to work. These ingredients. Okay, I'm giving up. I'm going to turn off the video and I'll give this another try a different way. So here's the thing. It didn't work, as you might suspect. As you can see, this section here, first of all, a bit of the epoxy had got inside, just, you know, typical Chris Law snafu. A bit of the epoxy got inside, so the steel washer part got stuck inside this, so I punched it out. I had to punch it out. That damaged, you can see the chisel mark on the edge of that, it damaged that. But regardless of whether this compressible copper piece got damaged or not, it wasn't fitting on. It was the threaded piece that comes through that compresses the whole thing. Was when it set in the epoxy, it had where's my hand? It had dropped down a little bit, so it wasn't dead concentric, which meant it wasn't sticking out far enough to get a thread on. So anyway, as a last gasp effort, I put on the non-concentric stud now, right, I put just the steel part of this. This is compressible copper. I guess it compresses in some way, and typically you would put a big wrench on the outside of this, hold it still, and then tighten the nut, right, and that's how it works. And it compresses not only the outer copper but the inner copper, and that which gives you the core plug effect. I put the steel washer insert in here, and I just put a flat nut on it. It's a 1/2 inch. I'm going to try tighten it up. I don't think it's going to tighten. I don't even know if it's on the right threads. I hope you can see this okay and I'm not in the way. But I'll tighten it up to the extent I can tighten it up, and maybe that JB weld will hold it in place so I can tighten this enough to compress the copper behind it, even though that steel washer is not on straight. Right, it's not on straight. This would be a miracle if it's actually going to work, but I'll try it. If it doesn't work, I'll take the damn thing out again, then I'll try and put the regular core plug in. This was just a little experiment. I thought I would make a little video of it, just in case it did work and it became, a workaround that maybe you guys have tried before. Who knows? I'm a rookie in the Lesson 7 fraternity, so I'm just trying things that I don't know if it's going to work or not. Maybe I can speed this up a wee bit. It's not quite as tedious. It's tight working quarters here. It is tightening up, and so far the JB weld hasn't given up. So, I might be able to get a couple of turns on this to compress. Remember, there's a copper core plug inserted behind the steel washer, right? So what I'm doing is I'm pulling against that now. The steel washer's pushing against the block, which it is. But the only thing keeping that copper from twirling round is a JB weld right now, right? Because I coated it liberally with JB weld. You saw that last night. But I'm getting some pressure on this, so maybe it is going to compress that copper. Who knows? Jeepers creepers. We'll put some water in it in a minute and we'll see if it holds, right? It is tightening up quite considerably, by the way. Oh, I just broke the JB weld, I think. I can't tighten up anymore. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. So, field experiment, I'm afraid, guys. There's the thing that just came out, right? I mean, it did compress a little bit, but not enough, obviously, to hold it in there. Oh well. Field experiment, I thought I'd try it. Over now, I'll try, I'll show you putting the regular thing in and see if that works. Okay, all you purists out there, get ready to laugh. And I'm going to try, you'll see that I put the regular disc in. I even cut down a rubber one in width and the length of the bolt. Oh jeez, I did it twice. That one was too high, too large a diameter. This one was the right diameter, But even cut down, I still couldn't fit it in, and it didn't look as if it was going to seal anyway. So I liberally coated the regular core plug with JB Weld, and without taking the front end off the engine, I'm going to try and knock that in a little bit. Can't really get at it, so I'm going to just use a punch, and hopefully I can get a good solid hit on it. Get it in position first of all, huh? I don't know if I can do it. That's why you take the front end of the engine off, I guess. You can't get something centred on that to knock it in. Sugar. Maybe I do need to take the dynamo off and pull that. There we go. Kinda went in, right? Kinda. Get that edge in a wee bit. Kinda looks as if it's in. I need a shorter. I'm going to go back and get a shorter punch. Check in a minute. Okay, here we are. I got a shorter punch. It's a crapped out old thing, it doesn't even have a good point. So I'm going to try and hit that. You say one solid tap in the centre, right? That's what I let. Get a solid tap in the centre. Not a solid tap in the centre, is it? Is it even gonna do what it's supposed to do? I'm hoping I could get that an angle and give it a good clout, but I cannot do it. I mean, it's in. It doesn't look as if it's at all in properly. Big. Supposed to give it a good hard bang, and of course you can't do it. Not from there, can you? An even shorter punch. I mean, that looks as if. What does it look like to you? I mean, I'll zoom in. Does it look as if it's distended enough? It's supposed to distend, right? I'll wait till it focuses. Maybe it'll focus, I don't know. Ah, come on! No, it's not going to focus, sorry. There you go. Whoops. Can you see? No, it's still not focusing, huh? Doesn't want to focus, so I'm sorry. Bad camera. I'll cut all this out. Cut all this out. Hopefully you won't be too disgusted. Come on, focus. It will not focus. Anyway, it did distend a little bit. But it's distended enough. I saw something with an air punch where you just, and it was an awesome friggin' thing, man. If I could figure out a way of doing that. I don't have an air punch. Back in a minute. So there you have it. It's installed. The only thing that's holding that in, I believe, is a JB Weld. Let it focus. Come on, focus. Useless piece of turd. Tough to focus, that thing. Self-focusing sucks. Yeah. Maybe it'll focus. So the only thing holding that in there is a JB Weld. Now let me come back out. I'll just physically move the camera, huh? And that'll work better. So look, there it is. There is the doohickey there. I'm pretty sure the only reason that would work is the JB weld. I didn't compress it enough. But we'll try it, right? I mean, it's a non-pressurised water system. You never know, we might be lucky. Better than